Howdy folks, and welcome to this brand new episode of the Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight, Rochester's premier music interview show. We're counting down to 50 regularly scheduled episodes this season, so it's very exciting. This is the biggest season yet, the biggest names, the most sponsors, and the most support from the community as well. So this is the third episode of the season, and number 40 overall, so congratulations guys, you're a nice round number. And this is the funk fusion band Juicy Connotation, and we're going to talk to them in a sec, but first let's hear from our sponsors.
This episode was mixed by owner and operator of Wicked Squid Studios, Josh Pettinger. Please visit their website to find out how you can become a member of their studio today. This episode is brought to you by Bop Shop Records, Bernunzio Uptown Music, Rowe Photo, and Sound Source. Bernunzio Uptown Music, located in Rochester's East End, has been providing Rochester and the world with quality used string instruments since 1976. Bernunzio also offers concerts, workshops, and jam sessions. This season, we're in this warm, local, and creative space, Bop Shop Records. Located right outside the city at 1460 Monroe Avenue, Bop Shop Records is your home for blues, classic rock, jazz, and classical in vinyl for the past 35 years. Rowe Photo is your Rochester home for photo, home theater installation, audio, and accessory needs. For 3 generations since 1898, Rowe Photo is there for you with second-to-none customer service. Stop by Rowe Photo's 2 convenient locations today. Trusted by musicians, recording engineers, and consumers, Sound Source is the place to go for instruments, gear, consignment needs, repairs, and to have all your questions answered by knowledgeable and friendly staff. Visit them at 161 Norris Drive for all things audio today. Additional support for the Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight comes from 3 Heads Brewing and Joe Bean Coffee Roasters.
And jump cut. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man.
Let's introduce everyone quickly. We have Tom Andolsek on sax, Alex Fortier on keyboards, Ryan Hecht on guitar, Jordan Rabinowitz on bass, and Chris Pallas on drums. But let's just take a moment and just go around in a circle and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I actually dropped out last spring.
Your delivery is so deadpan, I don't know how to react.
And, yeah, play the saxophone.
It's been doing great ever since.
Also play guitar and sing and produce music, so.
You a Rochester native?
No, I'm from Buffalo.
Huh. What brought you out here? Was it UR?
Yeah.
You're just riding the wave?
Yeah, I mean, Rochester's pretty good right now. Riding the wave with this band right now.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm from Maryland. I've been playing guitar since 7th grade, I think. Back then I was into some heavier music. Lately I've been influenced by jazz and funk, and so this band's been my focus for the past 3 years now, and having a great time doing it.
Chris, let's go to you.
I'm from Boston, Mass. I study audio engineering at the U of R.
Yeah.
And I play the drums.
There we go.
Yeah.
I don't need much more intro than that. Jordy?
Yeah, I'm from Jersey originally, and these guys are actually the people who made me buy an electric bass. I didn't own one before then.
Wow. I'm impressed. What was your first electric bass? Whatever
The only
that is.
one I have.
There you go. And shout out to Danny Zeman. We share a bass teacher. So that's very nice. I was actually Danny's first bass student at Oswego. So he would drive an hour and 20 minutes to teach me a lesson, and then he'd have to drive back.
I think I was his last bass student at U of R.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
Anyway.
I'm Alex. I play the keyboards. I've been playing classical and folk music since I was very young. I started at age 6. And lately I've been getting a lot into funk and fusion and jazz and all sorts of fun stuff.
We'll talk about all that and how that's all coalescing in a little bit. I think the first thing that strikes many people about this band is the name. And I would love to get the story on Juicy Connotation, whomever wants to share.
Sure. Well, pretty much like this band was born out of another band that Thomas played guitar in and Jordan played upright bass in, and I actually played like the djembe. And we were a folk band. We also had like some other members of the band, and we were searching for a name. We came across a couple names, and like some of them we were like more fond of than others. And we were searching for a name. We came across the name Juicy Connotation. I was obsessed with it. I was like, this is the greatest name ever. Like this is Juicy Connotation. And Tom was like, nah, this is not Juicy Connotation. He was like, I was like, damn. I was so committed to the name, but he was like, dude, trust me, just give it some time. Before you know it, we'll start up a funk band, and I'll play sax, and you'll play the drum set, and it'll be sick, and it'll be Juicy Connotation. I was like, sure, man. Like
So you wore him down, in other words.
Next thing you know, it happens.
I like it. Also, that was the first mention of a djembe ever on this show, so congratulations for that. I know.
That's a prize, right? We got like a couple CDs.
You'll have to talk to Tom about that one.
Later, Tom.
So you kind of mentioned how the band was formed. It was spawned of kind of different projects come together. So can you kind of tell, was there like a first jam session story? Did you guys just like, I've been seeing this guy around town a little bit, and you just like, was there like any Spider-Man origin story, or did you guys just hit it one day?
There was for me, but I was the last to join, so they all had some moments meeting in the elevators around campus and stuff.
Yeah, we had 2 jam sessions before we decided that a member was set, membership. First one was with 4 of us, now Alex, and they just met Ryan in an elevator, and we're like, yeah, we got to jam.
He was pestering me for probably like 2 weeks. He was like, dude, I seen you around, man. You gotta come jam. And this is Chris. He scared me. He scared me at first. I didn't want to jam with him. Then I went.
Oh my lord!
And it was the best thing ever.
Yeah. And I had just known Alex, and like one day I sat down. I just saw him sitting alone at lunch. So I was like, all right, I'll go sit with this kid.
That sounds happy.
And
that is the most wholesome thing we've ever had on the show. He was alone at lunch, and I sat with him.
And we were shooting the and he said the magic words, which is music is the only thing that really matters. I was like, all right, come jam with us. And then it was pretty cool when we jammed. So then we just stuck with that.
One of the things I enjoy about your guys' music, and we got a little taste about the personal side of it, you guys all have different majors, you're from different places. It's not just like, I mean, you all go to school in Rochester, most of you, you know, but you all come from different places and you have different influences. But a lot of you mention maybe some of the heavier stuff, a little bit of the classical side, and you're all sort of learning the funk and jazz as well. And on your Facebook page, you guys have described your sound as juice funk. Combining funk, jazz, Latin, and rock. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the sound you settled on, how you developed it, and how it's codified on the record and what you're doing now?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like when we first started jam, it was just a great vibe. Just every kind of jam we had, it was just a really good vibe to listen to. Like we would record it on our cell phones, like the jams we had. We'd listen back, and it would just be a great vibe. And like that's kind of just what we set out to do with our music, is just try to create good vibes music. Like it doesn't really matter like what genre it fits into. Like if we're like drawing from like Latin stuff, or if we're drawing from like rock and roll or funk or jazz, we just want to make music that's positive and makes people feel good and hopefully dance too.
Yeah, well, we can all get behind that message. Can you tell us how you go about writing stuff? I mean, do you still sort of jam, and that's how material comes about now?
Yeah, it's really magical, honestly. Sometimes somebody just starts playing. No, it really is. Somebody will start playing something. It's not even wholesome, man. It's just true. So yeah, I see magicians perform. That blows my mind. Just as when we create songs, it's crazy. Somebody will start playing something, and then immediately it's like everyone knows.
Yeah.
And they just throw in their part and it comes together.
One of the things I think that comes across in your music really well, and you put together a record in 2015, we'll talk a little bit about that as well, but one thing that you guys are doing is you are playing out a ton right now. You're right in the middle of a Buddha Pub residency. You just played at, shout out to Heads Brewing, we're partnered with the show. So what has this kind of past year been like for you guys in this stretch in particular, when you're just playing all the time? How do you keep it fresh? How do you find new ways to approach the music?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. It's easier than, well, it's not easier, but it's good. It's a nice challenge to kind of like keep being solid, keep rehearsing on your old shit, and trying to keep writing new stuff for new. You know, we got the upcoming album, we got all these shows, and to keep it fresh every show, not to play the same set. You know, keep people interested. And what we end up doing a lot is because the communication is so great between us playing. We oftentimes at shows, if we just, you know, add a little bit of a jam, we'll fill out some time there. And
right.
But not even as a cop-out. People love it.
It just feels good and you're riding the lightning.
It feels good, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes people like our jams more than our actual songs.
Yeah.
It happens.
These are the most successful moments of the night.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can feel the spontaneity.
Right.
They like being part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to comment on whether you know what we're going to do. We're actually going to like put a little subtext every time we go into a jam part. Like you'll see on the video, it's like jam section right here. We wrote this part out. Right this. I'm kidding, but seriously, we might end up doing that. One thing you said that I really like, Chris, and I think this is a continuing trend with a lot of Rochester bands, is there's becoming less of an emphasis on what genre you play. And of course, there are a lot of great folk bands out there. There are a lot of great rock bands on there. But there's this big wave of you guys included, but other bands like Lost Wax Collective, the Elementals, the Mother Funkin' Planets, who like it's just all in this really nice mishmash of stuff. And it's not one thing because it's everything, but each song still fresh. And so for you guys, you're a part of this growing scene that's really kind of exploded in the past 4 months. Why do you think this is becoming more popular, and what's it kind of be like to be a part of this growing community?
I personally, I think it's about freedom of expression, largely, because you have... If you try to confine yourself to a certain genre or a certain sound or a certain thing, I forget who it was like Dwayne Allman or something said, it's easy to find your sound, it's hard to lose it. And when you're not writing with any specific sound in mind, if you're just writing for a vision or for a vibe or for, you know, just to have fun, you end up creating some really free stuff. You're not confined. You know, you don't put yourself in four walls. You kind of you take a little bit from all the separate influences that not only you have, but everyone else in the group has. And you allow everyone to have like an equal voice and into the writing process. And
I think it's interesting that there's this parallel between this kind of genre and the folk music. People are really starting to respond to the authenticity. A lot of this pop music is just sort of produced to sell, not really being something, a mode of expression. So I think it's interesting that there's parallels between those two. Really quickly, before we get into the final section of our interview here, so the album that you have for sale, it's over, you can't see it on camera, but trust me, it's over there, that you guys have out. That was recorded in 2015, so you guys have been a band for a while, and you have an upcoming project as well. You're targeting May. Let's just say spring for now. So can you tell us about that record and what you're trying to do with this upcoming one?
Jordy?
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a culmination of all of our work. It's the self-titled album. It's I mean, and Chris was saying it before. It's all about vibe. I mean, it's just about music that feels good, music that feels good to play, music that feels good to listen to. That's really all it's about. I mean, it's a big time of culmination. Some of the tracks on that record we wrote back in 2015 when we were recording our first album, and they're showing up now. Some of the tracks we're still writing now. So you're talking about like a 3-year span of music that we're writing, and it's all kind of going into this big record, this big project.
Very cool.
Out in May.
You can kind of see the progression of songwriting too. There's all sort of different phases we go through, and different like some songs are more complex and weird, and some are, you know,
Weirder the better.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. I don't know. Weirder the better.
That's what you asked for, man.
So you guys got through most of the questions. Congratulations. We're in the lightning round right now, but feel free to take your time. Chime in when you have an answer. Those who've seen the show before know these questions.
On the buzzer.
Yeah, I know.
I should do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I should have buzzers installed. Anyway, if you could accomplish one thing in music and be happy, what would it be?
Spread positivity and good vibes and make people happy.
That was like 3 things, dude.
It's a compound thing.
Part of that question.
Compound words are still one word, even though they're made of 2 words. That's a common theme you guys have all mentioned. Would you say that rings true with all of you? Yeah. I dig it. You all are actually from different places, so I think you guys, not all of you, but a lot of you from different places, and I think you've an interesting perspective on this. What makes Rochester such a great place for original music to live and breathe?
It's where we are.
That's a great answer.
No, it is. That was terrible. Rochester, to me, Rochester is such a beautiful thing. It's not New York City where you gotta have a connection, you gotta have an inn, or like a place you go where you're either really poor or really rich. Rochester is welcoming. The music scene, everybody knows everybody. It's like a brotherhood, a sisterhood. Everybody's connected. All the venues know each other. All the sound people. We end up doing, we have sound guys now who are doing sound for us for multiple venues because they just do that for all the venues, and like it's a nice small town feel with the opportunities there.
That's right.
All the
big
venues
city perks
and everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rochester is actually second in the nation in musicians per capita behind Nashville.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No
I
kidding.
did not know that.
Yeah, we learn something new every day here on the
that's
Rochester
crazy.
Indie Musician Spotlight. One more. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Play.
Yeah, you gotta make music every day.
All solid answers. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm Dan Gross, and thank you so much for watching this episode of the Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, Juicy Connotation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This episode was mixed by owner and operator of Wicked Squid Studios, Josh Pettinger. Please visit their website to find out how you can become a member of their studio today. This episode is brought to you by Bop Shop Records, Bernunzio Uptown Music, Rowe Photo, and Sound Source. Bernunzio Uptown Music, located in Rochester's East End, has been providing Rochester and the world with quality used string instruments since 1976. Bernunzio also offers concerts, workshops, and jam sessions. This season, we're in this warm, local, and creative space, Bop Shop Records. Located right outside the city at 1460 Monroe Avenue, Bop Shop Records is your home for blues, classic rock, jazz, and classical in vinyl for the past 35 years. Rowe Photo is your Rochester home for photo, home theater installation, audio, and accessory needs. For 3 generations since 1898, Rowe Photo is there for you with second-to-none customer service. Stop by Rowe Photo's 2 convenient locations today. Trusted by musicians, recording engineers, and consumers, Sound Source is the place to go for instruments, gear, consignment needs, repairs, and to have all your questions answered by knowledgeable and friendly staff. Visit them at 161 Norris Drive for all things audio today. Additional support for the Rochester Indie Musician Spotlight comes from 3 Heads Brewing and Joe Bean Coffee Roasters.
he's looking for a new pair.
Ah. Maybe you should try low hats next time.
Definitely. I heard those are the stuff.
That actually didn't move.
Hey man, just kick him with your other foot.
Chris, you had one job. I made a corny joke. You're behind a drum kit. Man.
He's not even gonna do it. He's still not gonna do it. Alright, we better just play a song then.
Oh, wait.
We'll get it in post. There it is. All right.
You can clip that in. Every time Tom said a bad word during the cut it.
Yes! Oh my God.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
producer.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.